Hey guys, it's Marco again. I've finally been a part of the log raid. I've made it together with my guild. We basically picked up all the available world buffs, so Dark Moon, BFD and Ashen Veil buff, together with all the DPS elixirs and scrolls. We only had one tank and we didn't want to risk it by running only one healer, so we had two. Ideally you will have one for even faster kill times, but this is still a definition of a log run. We will have super short boss kill times, which usually mean bigger DPS. I went with the Saber build. These are my talents and my gear. You can check my ultimate throw guide for more information, and make sure to leave a like and maybe even consider subscribing if you want to see more SoD content. Let's go on with the bosses. For the first boss, I didn't want to use backstab build since I already got 99% log on it. Also, just to mention, you can definitely go here with Shadow Strike and immediately pop to the boss without having to jump. So for this boss I won't be using Saber since he can't bleed, so I'm just gonna spam my Sinister Strike. So obviously I'll start with 2 Sinister Strikes into Slice and Dice. And then I'm gonna do as many Sinister Strikes until I'm at like 5 or 6 energy. I'm gonna pop a quick Thistletea and I'm gonna continue doing Sinister Strikes and Eviscerate. Now I didn't want that my Slice and Dice expires and the boss was like super close to the death, so I used 1 combo point Slice and Dice, and as you will see that 1 combo point Slice and Dice lasted until the end of the fight. For Ghamoo-ra, Saber is definitely the best build that you can go for. You just need to stack your bleeds while she's in her 99% damage reduction phase, so you don't need to worry too much about the DPS during this shell phase. So just make sure to build your combo points, gather your Slice and Dice, and ideally have 5 stacks of deadly poison on her. Also, I was super scared of this boss fight because in the last raid, if you watched the video, I died here with all of my world buffs. So I even went with Greater Healing Potion. I picked up the boss aggro here, so I immediately went with Evasion. And now I'm just gonna vanish, so I reset my threat and I'm gonna get at the boss. And here my Slice and Dice expired, so I just used a new one. I didn't want to go for the 5 combo point Slice and Dice because I was expecting that the boss is gonna die even sooner, so I just wanted to go with 1 more in Venom. Also, as you can see, I'm not always using Saber on this boss, or any boss. I'm using Sinister Strike when I don't need to refresh my Saber duration, because Sinister Strike does 15 additional damage, and that when you crit that means 30 additional damage. Third boss is such a fast Zerg, so immediately before the boss even starts you can pre-pot your free action potion, so you can stand in her freezing arrow. And free action potion is super OP here because you won't get slowed or stunned during the whole boss fight. So just continue DPSing her from behind, stack your Saber to 3 stacks, pray for your deadly poison to hit 5 as soon as possible. Just do first Slice and Dice and then just continue with envenoming the boss, because you won't get the chance to like DPS at all. So it's important that you do a fast Thistletea and pray for some crits. Fourth boss is my favorite one because it's all about the preparation in the intermission phase. You basically start the fight with garroting the boss and then just get to 2 combo points, press Slice and Dice and just continue DPSing the boss as much as you can. As you can see, I immediately popped my Thistletea because I was super low on energy, and I had to use my Eviscerate here instead of Envenom, just because I only had 1 application of a deadly poison. And now the longest part of this fight is this intermission phase, so make sure that you're continuing to DPS the boss so you keep up this, your deadly poison stacks, do Saber slashes so you keep refreshing the bleed, and when you get to 5 combo points, even during the intermission phase, use your Slice and Dice so you can immediately start gathering points for your next Envenom. Now as you can see, I'm using Sinister Strike before I use my Saber Slash, and that's just because I've already said that Sinister Strike does more damage than Saber Slash, so it's more beneficial for your DPS to use it when you don't need to refresh your Saber Slash debuff. Again, intermission phase came super quickly and your goal is still the same, just get the 5 combo points so you have your slice and dice during the whole third phase, and just continue smacking the boss only using Envenom or Eviscerate if you don't have enough combo points. And here for the last phase I even did a quick vanish into Garrote so the boss takes as much bleed damage as it can. And there we go, the boss is already dead. For the fourth boss, the biggest trick is that you keep your uptime as much as possible, so you just keep meleeing something, at least something. And the best tactic for overall DPS is to just focus on the priestesses. So I'm just gonna go on priestesses, do 2 Saber Slash, pop my slice and dice, and then when the priestesses die, you just go for the next priest. And here, just to pad a bit more DPS, I went on the elite and I went with 3 stacks of Saber Slash, so he keeps bleeding while we're DPSing the priestesses. As you can see, Elite Dude actually died super quickly, so I'm just gonna do one more Saber Slash. I did a small mistake here, I should have continued DPSing him while I was going towards the priest, but it is what it is, it's a minor mistake, but still, the minor mistakes matter a lot when the fight is like a minute long. Now for the boss, just make sure that you don't die from the lightning shield totem, swap to it if you can. At least try not to lose your bleed stacks on the boss, that's an important part, and you can DPS the boss for a bit with the lightning shield totem if it's necessary, so you take just a bit of damage. Again, make sure that your slice and dice is constantly up, and this is gonna be my last slice and dice, and now I'm just gonna try to envenom him for the kill. As you can see, we got another lightning shield totem, so I faced away from the boss so I can't DPS him so I don't die, and I was just waiting for my energy to get to 35 so I can use one last Envenom and the boss is gonna die, and I'm not gonna die from the lightning shield totem. If you want to have a good log for Kelris, it's very important that you're not gonna do a single kick, so somebody else is gonna take the kick duty. And another important part is that you don't go into the Shadow Realm. If you go to the Shadow Realm, you're gonna lose a lot of DPS, so that's a big no-no. So try to keep as further away from the boss as you can, because he pulls in the closest players. Overall, DPS wise, you're just doing your normal thing. I started with Garrote because it's super easy to get on this boss, and now at 4 combo points I'm gonna use my slice and dice. But then the disaster happened and I was actually pulled inside of the Shadowy Realm together with a tank. As you can see, I was at 270 DPS or so, and I'm gonna fall like super hard just because of this phase. And there we go, we actually managed to get out of the shadowy phase quite quickly, but now I lost like 4 combo points on the boss. I didn't have any of the bleeds up, and I didn't have deadly poison up, and that takes a heavy toll on your overall DPS for this boss. So ideally, if you want to have a super nice log, you're gonna avoid the shadow phase. I would say that I would have at least 40 more DPS if I wasn't pulled in the shadowy phase, but it is what it is. It's still a 99 percentile log, so I don't really care about it that much, and we got rewarded with a nice epic staff. For the last boss, uptime is also super important, so ideally you will have some adds to DPS while the boss is non-hittable. I mean, when the boss is taking 90-something% reduced damage. I tried to open up with Garrote, but as soon as the combat started I lost my stealth, and now I got 1 stack of debuff, which kinda confused me, and then I actually failed my rotation because I didn't use Slice and Dice here, I actually went with Envenom. Ideally I would have went with 4 points of Slice and Dice because this phase isn't gonna last for too long. And I actually didn't reapply my Slice and Dice, I went with double Envenom, so that was kind of a big burst damage, but overall I think it was a small DPS downgrade, but I got lucky with the crit. And here we're DPSing the boss even further because he's doing his spewing thing, and now he's gonna take reduced damage, and now we just focus on the little droplets. Also, I removed one stack of my debuff, and that actually spawned another droplets and elementals, and that should be ideal for any cleaving class because they will be able to cleave them for more DPS. And now I finally went with slice and dice again, so now I'll have a good slice and dice uptime. I went with another vanish into Garrett. Here the boss is at 10k HP, and I'm not gonna use another slice and dice because it's gonna be useless, so I just went with one last envenom and bam, the boss is dead. Also, if you have crafted gloves, it's important that you use them for the bosses on which you want to do more DPS. So if you want to correct, I don't know, Kelris log, you're gonna use your gloves on Kelris. At least that's how I use them. And here are my overall logs for this whole raid. And that's it for the video. Expect a lot more content to come, and with that said, thank you for watching and bye bye.